We're at our monument project, and today we are doing something a little differently. Normally you get a pretty wide range of discussion on my channel. As I'm a general contractor, I usually talk generally about construction, but today I wanted to get more specific with you and talk to you more about plumbing. Now, on this project that we have, it's a very unique project. Now, obviously we can go back to the project that we just finished on Marionette. You can see that video here, pretty sure. But this is pretty similar to that, but it's still a unique project where we have a rooftop deck, we have 2 standard floors, and we have a basement that we're dealing with. So plumbing doesn't change that much, but it is a different kind of thought process to how the plumbing all gets run, and it creates a little bit more difficulty in how everything gets run. So we're gonna pay attention to plumbing today. We're gonna go through that today. There's a lot more stuff I wanna show you on this house, but obviously we'll take it slow. All right, so the first thing we're gonna notice is we have our floor drains on the rooftop deck. Now those are really important because that's literally what's capturing this water. Essentially, you kind of wanna make sure that the rooftop can almost hold the weight of water and still be able to take that water, transfer it away from the roof, out to the streets, out to the sides of the house, sorry, and then out to the LID planter or out to the street, wherever it's going. So it's really important that we're setting up enough drains on the rooftop that allow for sloping to happen, that allow for the water to be caught, and that there's no spot where we can kind of have a spot of puddling, essentially. I mean, you almost don't want puddles sitting up here, but you almost want to be able to have the roof strong enough and protected enough that it could hold that puddle for an extended period of time. God forbid something happens, big rain shower happens, and all drains get clogged, or just one main drain gets clogged, and you have rising in that section. You want to know that, you know what, it's okay. 5 out of the 6 drains worked. There's not a lot of water there. There's one corner of the roof that's clogged. Unclog that drain, and that roof is able to hold that water for, you know, who knows, maybe you don't come up here for a week, maybe you don't come up here for a month, so you don't see that water getting clogged, but it can still hold that water, and we can deal with that problem, get that water to drain, and you haven't caused any damage to your roof or the interior of your house. So really important that that step gets taken. The other thing is you also want to make sure that your drains are sized appropriately. I'll try to explain that better using a sink or a toilet or a shower with a little bit more visual explanation of that. But essentially, if something's going down, something's got to go up. You have to make sure that the volume of that pipe is allowing that to happen. So really important. So especially when you're dealing with a large volume of water, such as a shower or a rooftop deck, you want to make sure that the volume is appropriate, so that way you're, allowing that system to work appropriately. Make sense? If it does, let me know in the comments. I'll see you there. Tuscany white stone. This is going to be a veneer stone that we're putting on the siding, on the bump out of our house on this one. Really excited about using this. It's got a really cool white contrast, like a bright whiteness to it, which just, and it has this rustic element to it. Really cool. Similar to like a Jerusalem stone you maybe see on a lot of more modern houses. But again, we're going with that tradition. We're going with that farmhouse traditional look. And this is really gonna give it that farmhouse element to it on that exterior. Plus we have this like nickel gap that we're doing on the TNG, which is also gonna be really more on that farmhouse, leaning more on that modern side. But again, with still that traditional layout. So I'm pretty excited about using this stuff. I can't wait to show you that installed on this house. actually carrying the water are 2 inches and the air vents are 1.5. So again, I don't know the math on how it's specifically worked out to the pipe that's carrying the water and the air vent that's going. I'm sure there's a mathematical equation for how much water is holding in that pipe and how much space you need for an air vent to carry that water through. But essentially, just to look at this one section here, for water to go down, air has to come up. So to release that water, it's going down, something's coming up to release that water and let it go down. Hopefully that visual can help you understand a little bit more about what I'm talking about. So there are other things to talk about in plumbing, like the hot and the cold water. You might get people who talk about the fact that they can't get hot water where they want it as quickly, or it takes a minute longer in the shower to warm up than it does everywhere else. Well, in these new houses, we're trying to be as efficient as possible. We're not actually using tanks that much these days. A tank will actually have a reserve of hot water. So the second you want water, it's going directly to that hot water source and it's gonna go directly to it. Now we have tankless water heaters, so that water is getting heated as it's going through the system and then it's coming to you. So that's usually a reason for the delay. But at the same time, you also want to make sure that your routes are done appropriately, so it's constantly circulating. Now, unfortunately, we don't have the hot water done yet for me to kind of show you an example of what that would look like, but maybe on the next video I can show you briefly what that looks like. But essentially, try to get the hot water as close as you can get it to, so that way the sooner you turn it on, the sooner it's going to be there for you. But you don't always get that lucky sometimes. Sometimes it just takes a minute to heat up.
Yeah,
That's on the hot water. The cold water is pretty simple. It's, you know, you want to make sure that the water is getting there. That's it, right? Who uses cold water? Into a movie theater. Now, truthfully, most of what becoming a movie theater is all low voltage wiring. So I want to fulfill my promise here on that commercial of showing how this room becomes a movie theater. So basically, you have your speakers set up, you got your lights set up, you got your projector location set up, you got standard lighting just to kind of light the room up, you know, for just using light in the room when you want it to be light. And all the way down here, watch your step, sorry. All the way down here, we're gonna have our screen on this wall. We'll put our screen on this wall. We'll have cool panels that come in on the finish of this. And we'll have a movie theater in here. So this is a very start of the movie theater actually coming into life. But as those steps progress, I'll show you more about how we do that. Now, we've talked about sump pumps many times, but basically in this house, when you have a house that is below grade, so that the water actually cannot slope out levelly or cannot slope out appropriately with natural grade, you need to put a pump in the house to push that water out. So in this pump, we're actually going to be pushing that water out into the sewer line regardless. So all of the water that hits this house from the rooftop all the way down, any water that we're using in this home goes into these pumps and out into the street. Any water that is not being used in this house, so rooftop, rainwater and stuff like that, goes out into the outside of the house, gets collected into this pit, into this pump, sorry. So all the rainwater gets collected from outside the house into another pump and then pushed out into the LID planters, which we talked about in another video as well. You can probably find the LID planter video right there. And all of that water gets pushed out away from the house and out into the street eventually. If you have any questions on plumbing, put them in the comments. I'd love to get to them. I'll see you there.